Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to improve topology and textures. If you want to do that with the meshes from the last video, you can start after the decimate step and ignore the rest of the other tutorial. To clean the mesh up, we will use the One website. You could also do manual retopology, but it takes so much time. After we pass the mesh through the One website, we will clean it even further in Blender. Manually create the UVs, bake the texture maps, and improve the textures using image to image with a control net on Conf UI. Finally, we are going to make high quality textures on a program I made some time ago. This is a page on the One website. A link to it will be on the video description. Click on the last tab and click on this panel to upload. Click here to load the model. Double click to select your model. Wait for it to load. This option below the upload field is asking if you want quads or triangles. Then click on generate. I will be back when it's done. There is still some unwanted geometry. We will fix that in Blender. The mesh we will see in Blender is a little bit different, as I recorded this section again to give me more space to talk. I will show later in this tutorial how to clean different types of defects. Click here to download the improved mesh. Choose where you want your mesh to be. Optionally, choose a name and click on Save. Now open Blender, delete the default objects, and load the mesh you exported. We are going to clean some small defects that was generated by One. Also load the high poly mesh. We are going to need it eventually. Drag it into Blender and click on Import. In order to scale the object, I am pressing S and 1.5. To move the object in the Z axis, you can press G, Z and move the mouse up and down. You can also press S and move the mouse in order to scale the object. I have hidden the high poly mesh for now. Going into wireframe or X-ray mode can help you see the defects and geometry inside the object. Go into face mode, select one of the faces. If there's nothing else connected to it, you can press L to select the object you want to delete. In this case, our issue is only unwanted geometry. I will delete all of the unwanted geometry manually. I will not show everything, so the video is not too boring. And even more here. Wrapping the UVs using the angle-based unwrap can help you figure out if there is still unwanted geometry. I will do that soon. Add modifier, weld. I'm going to increase the weld threshold in a way that merges the vertex that I did. I will try to find the best value for object. On object mode, click on apply. You cannot apply on edit mode. Let's also mark the seams for our UV. I'm doing so by pressing Shift to keep my selection, Alt to select more edges in a row, and clicking to actually select the edges. I will select all the edges around the object, and I will be back when I'm done. Right click and click on Mark Seam. Seams divide your objects into parts, but they only affect UVs. Click on UV, then on Unwrap Angle Based. We can see there is an island that did not unwrap correctly. Select one polygon, then press L to select the whole island. When you select something, it will be highlighted on both views. Looks like that we still have unwanted geometry. Let's go back into the layout view to fix that. Enable X-ray mode. Go into edit mode. We need to delete these internal faces. If it's not unwanted geometry, you can instead create a seam. I will press Ctrl and click to select the other faces. I will select each of the faces we do not want, press delete and then choose faces. We have a bit of a gap on our objects. I will move the vertex around it a bit in order to try to hide this gap. To move the vertex down, you can press G and Z, and to scale them, you can press S. I will adjust until it looks good. Let's go into the UV tab to angle-based unwrap again. Press A, click on UV and unwrap angle base. Now you can see that our UV looks so much better. I will apply this process to every island that does not look good and be right back. If you see something that looks out of place on the UV tab, you can select it, then look at your 3D view to see if it's actually unwanted geometry. In this case it is, so I will delete it. Press A, click on UV and unwrap angle base. On the UV panel, click on UV and pack islands. Let me see how 0.1 looks. It is too much. UV, pack islands. Let's try 0.01. Looks good now. On the bottom of the sword, there are some vertices that are not connected. Go back to the layout view and to edit mode. To connect the edges, we can use the knife tool. Click on both edges you want to connect and press enter. Let's do the same for the other side. I will give the objects better names. You can do so by double clicking the object name. I will call this one high and the other one low. Make the high poly mesh visible. The high poly mesh is the first mesh we generated. Go into the material tab and create a material for the low poly mesh. Go into the shading tab. F3 and search for image texture. Create a new image texture, 4096 by 4096. Click on new image. Give it a better name. Go into the render menu. Choose cycles. Set the number of steps to 1. Expand the bake section. Set the bake type to normal. Enable selected to active. Set the extrusion size to 0.5. If your baked textures do not look right, you can change the extrusion size. You do not need to enable cage, this was a mistake. Click on the high poly mesh, then Ctrl click on the low poly mesh. Go into the render tab. Finally, click on bake. You can see that we baked the normal map correctly. It takes some work to do manual UVs, but as you can see, the quality is much better. And it will help you find unwanted geometry. Let's also bake the diffuse map. Expand the emission panel, set the strength to 1. Drag the color texture into emission. Press F3 and search for image texture. Click on new. Give it a better name. Then click on new image. Click on the high poly object and the low poly object. Set the bake type to emission. Then click on bake. You can see now that we have our color texture baked. Let's link the textures into the materials to test. F3 and search for normal map. Link the normal map into color and then normal into normal. You can see that we have some defects. Let's fix them with texture paint. Press Ctrl and click to set the origin. Then click and drag to paint over the missing part. What I'm doing is setting the origin to a place close to where I want to paint, so it's harder for the color to be different. I will be back soon so the video is not too repetitive. Click on the color, then click on the color picker. The color picker do not work very well on the 3D view. We have to pick the color on the UV view. What we are doing here is mostly fixing the missing parts of the textures. We are going to add details later and also attempt to fix any distortions. I'm just painting over a little bit more of the gaps. For some reason, the clone tool was not able to get some of these gaps. Let's fix them with the brush tool. Pick a better color, reduce the strength a little bit more. Let's paint a few more spots. Now it's time to save what we created. Click on Image and then Save As. Select the folder where you want your image, then click on Save. Change to Normal Map. The normal map has issues in the same places the diffuse map had. Let's fix these issues now. Pick a color from the background of the normal map. Then let's paint over the details that are wrong. I'm painting it until it looks nice and even. I will be back when I'm done fixing this issue. Click on File, Export, OBJ. Give it a name, and click on Export Wavefront Object. Drag and drop the workflow into ComfUI. Download each of the workflow dependencies and restart ComfUI. Drop the normal map into the top input and the color map into the bottom input. Press Ctrl Enter to run the workflow. This outline was generated based on the normal map. You should adjust the prompt to match the texture you're improving. I got this prompt by giving a brief description to ChatGPT and asked it to generate a prompt for me. The texture generation can take more or less time depending on your hardware. To save the image, you can right-click and click on Save Image. Navigate to the folder where you want the image to be. You can give it a better name, then click on Save. You can further clean this texture on Blender or the texture editing software of your choice. This website has public domain textures. The link will be in the video description. We are going to download the texture here to use our sword. I will choose a metal texture. Click on Download. I downloaded the 1K texture, as our texture is 1K. Let's open the folder where we downloaded the textures. To mix the texture we downloaded with the texture we created, I will use a free program I made some time ago. It is called Texture Composer. The link will be in the video description. I will import all the textures we will need into the program. You will also need one of the textures you generated with ComfUI, or the texture you bake in case you wanted to skip the ComfUI step. Drag the color textures into the composition. Enable gradient map. Click to add a new node. Double click the node to add it. Set the alpha to 0. If you disable the metal texture, you can see that our texture looks transparent. Let's try to tweak the shading a bit so it looks better. The good thing about this program I created is that it is non-destructive. That means if you save the editable project, you can change any settings later. There is also some functionality to replace textures. It has a very complete automation feature. Let's use the blending section to transfer the color from one texture to another. You can configure the override channels to modify only hue and saturation. You could also change the alpha if you want it to be less saturated. In this case, I don't want to. It looks better as full saturation. Let's create a new composition from the specular map. Let's drop the roughness texture we downloaded, drop the original texture, and apply a gradient map. Click to create a new color node, double click to open it, and set its alpha to 0. Move the nodes until you are happy with the results. There is no recipe for that. The way to do it is to move the nodes, looking at how it looks in the final image. Let's change the max color to black. I removed the node, so I click to add another one. Max out the alpha. I am moving the sliders until I like what I see on the preview image. I want to get some details from the color image into our specular map. I go back to the color composition to edit the gradient map a bit. Can move where the transparency is until it looks nice. I think it's good now. Change the names to keep things organized. You can do so by right-clicking. Back to the specular texture. Let's apply a gradient map to the metal texture too. I will make the texture brighter and with more contrast. Move the sliders until I'm happy with the results. You can see how powerful the gradient map of the Texture Composer program is. It's still missing some drawing features, but I am already working on that. I think the shading have to be a little bit more visible. Finally, we can render the full resolution textures. Let's add the render output to our textures and make one of the output the specular map. Now let's render and choose an output folder. We can give the zip we are saving a name. Do not forget to save the editable project, so if you need to make any changes to the texture, it's a lot easier. Let's also improve the normal map. Drag and drop the baked normal map into the Texture Composer window. Go into the folder where you saved the textures for Amient CG and drag and drop the metal normal map you downloaded. Let's create a composition to use as mask. Drag the texture into that composition and enable gradient map. Let's create a composition for the normal map. Drag both normals into the composition and apply our composition as a mask. Edit the gradient map of our mask. Let's give our normal full alpha, where our color is brightest and darkest, and low alpha at the middle. That should be good enough. Let's export our normal map. I do not want to export these textures again. Let's remove them from the output. Now I will organize the project a bit. I will create a folder to store our assets. Now I will show you the quad mesh generation, so I can give you more mesh cleanup examples, as depending on the mesh other defects can appear. You can possibly get these defects with triangles too. It just never happened to me. Click on render, then on the other render button. Finally click on save. Choose the folder where you want your texture to be and give it a name. Now let's generate with quads. Upload your mesh. Select quads and click on generate. I'll be back when it finishes generating. As you can see, quad has some issues that we did not see with the triangles. I'll show you how to fix these issues. Let's download our mesh. Choose where you want to save it. Now in Blender, I will delete the full objects. File, Import, OBJ to import our object. I will go into Edit mode, and carefully I am going to select the unwanted details and then delete them. You can go into X-ray mode to delete through the object, instead of just the faces you are seeing. I'm going to delete all of these faces, which makes the mesh totally broken. Depending on the mesh you're using, it might need more or less cleanup. If you're having this kind of issues with triangles, you could also try generating the mesh again. It will give you different results, as most AIs are non-deterministic. Now I will show you how to clean some other defects that you may experience. If you press Alt, then click on a face, depending on where you click, you select that row. Assuming these bumps are defects on our mesh, let's try to clean them. Go into X-ray mode to select the polygons that are behind, and select each of them one by one. We can leave the X-ray mode now, press delete and then faces. Go into edges mode, press Alt and then click on the border. Shift out of the other border, F3 and type bridge edge loops. The bridge will help you fix any gaps you may have. Now let's fix the outer bump. This one I will do a little bit different. Go into X-ray mode, click on the X-axis, select faces, then select each bump and delete them. Move the camera to go out of the front view. Disable the X-ray. Change the edit mode to edges. Press Alt and click to select the edge loops. Shift Alt click to select the other edge loop and F to fill. Back towards sword. The gaps on this object are pretty thin, so we can fix them with a weld modifier. I just have to increase it until it fixes the gap, but before it starts damaging the object. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you find this video useful. I called the objects game ready on the last tutorial, and many people told me that they were not game ready at all. Hopefully after this tutorial the assets are really game ready. I'm always open to receiving feedback and improving. I will do more videos like this in the future. Soon, hopefully I will be able to start the SKSE tutorials. It still do not look perfect, but you should be able to clean up these defects on Texture Paint or any image editing software before going to Texture Composer.